Hello nerds! Thank you for watching Generally Nerdy. This is your Week in Nerdom TV edition for the week of April 9th, 2018. This week in TV news, we've got some supernatural stuff going on. Legion gave us their first episode of season 2, so we're going to talk about that. We've got Always Sunny in Philadelphia news. The Stand is coming back to television. Smallville might be coming back to television. A bunch of stuff is going on. Let's kick into that intro real quick.
Quiet on the set, rolling.
Hi, I am Bitsy Telek.
Hey, I'm Hale Appleman.
I'm Walter Kane.
I'm Rene Aubergenois. Odo on Deep Space Nine.
Michael Dorn, Lieutenant Commander Worf, Star Trek The Next Generation.
Come and see me and hear me and talk to me and listen to me talk about myself.
Hey man, this is Kevin Smith, often considered generally nerdy, and you are listening to what is often considered generally nerdy.
On Generally Nerdy.
You're listening to
Generally Nerdy.
Generally Nerdy.
Generally nerdy.
Okay, nerds, before we can get into the TV news, let's get into a little bit of business real quick. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, the 14th and 15th of April, is Dink Denver, which means we are going to be having a What's in My Camera Bag. We have a how-to Comic-Con video coming up. We have an adventure in photography video coming up. So much stuff is planned for this weekend. Potentially an interview with John Leguizamo. Potentially an interview with James O'Barr, the creator of the Crow comic book. So a lot of stuff is heading our way. Stay tuned for all of that. We also have the second video for Renaissance Nerd. This week we're doing prep for the entree. So we are going to be doing cuts and slices and peeling and all kinds of really not super exciting cooking stuff, but I'm going to try and make it as exciting as possible, I promise. So that stuff is all heading down the pike, but in the vein of Dink Denver, we do have that adventure in photography video coming up. So if there is something you want to see, some sort of camera shot, some sort of awesome picture that you think I can get at an underground comic book convention, then let me know in the comments. Jump over to the website generallynerdy.net. You can let me know over there, and that's really all the business we've got. But we do also have a sponsor for this week. This week's sponsor for the episode is, in fact, the generallynerdy.net t-shirt. This is the wonderful shirt that you guys see me wear every week in these videos. You can get yours, they're about $20 over on the Redbubble store, redbubble.com/people/generallynerdy. The link is right about there, right about now. You can get your very own generallynerdy.net t-shirt with the tagline across the bottom. If it's generally nerdy, then it's probably here over on the Redbubble store. Again, redbubble.com/people/generallynerdy. Now we can get into all this news. First and foremost, coming out the gate, we're talking about The Stand. The Stephen King novel that was written in 1978 is getting another miniseries. Only this time, it might not be so bad. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a huge fan of the original miniseries that came out in '94. This is going to be 10 episodes, and it's going to be directed by Josh Boone, who is also the director of the New Mutants movie. So now we understand that paying homage to the source material is the way to go. So hopefully we will get something of substance. And we are in the golden age of television. How can they screw up classic, even by Stephen King standards? Like, I'm not a huge King fan, not by a long shot, but I mean, he does have some good work, and The Stand is kind of the baseline for all of that stuff. Everything ties into The Stand, and the Stand ties into everything else. So I feel like this is a pretty pivotal piece of Stephen King literature, so it needs to be taken care of. And maybe Josh Boone is the guy to do that. Maybe, we don't know. But we will find out. No premiere date has been set just yet. They just announced that this was going to happen. I'm pretty sure there's not even a cast announcement yet. So we will be following this as it happens. But that's all we got. So let's kick on to the next bit. Next, we have an American Horror Story update. So officially just signed on for season 8. Joan Collins and producer Ryan Murphy is trying to secure Anjelica Huston to be part of this as well. It has been confirmed it is going to be in the future. We've already talked about that. No other hints as to the content and no other hints for the premiere. Definitely going to keep our ears open for that though, because it is a pretty good series. Next on the list is Supernatural. Last week's episode, The Thing, almost saw the thing that we were promised about Dean getting possessed. And I was almost not right, but I still feel like when they get over to Apocalypse World and they have to barter to get Dean's mom back, I feel like that's gonna be the thing that he agrees to be possessed by Gabriel, or I think that's the angel that has their mom. But next week's episode looks like it's going that direction a little bit. We got the preview link in the description. Next week's episode is called Bring 'Em Back Alive, and Dean, I almost said Sam, and Dean and Ketch are over in Apocalypse World, but it doesn't really look like Apocalypse World necessarily. This is the first time we've seen snow. I mean, the preview's only 30 seconds, so there's not a whole lot we can really piece together, aside from the fact that Castiel's in with Sam and trying to figure out how to get them back over. Just a lot of stuff is going on, so gonna be watching it. Last week's episode was alright. I feel like we're in the point now where the only ones that are going to be really good are going to be the mythology episodes, and last week was not a mythology episode. This week is going to be a mythology episode, so it hopefully will be much better than last week. But yeah, that's where we're at with Supernatural. We're kicking over next to Legion Season 2. Oh my god, where to start? This is, the season premiere was this week, and it's like Stanley Kubrick levels of screwing with your head. So every episode of this show is a masterclass in cinematography. It is a great example, not necessarily a masterclass of great writing. Some of the acting is a little subpar, but it is television, so you kind of, it's a mixed bag for most things, but just how do you make a dance scene make sense in the middle of this super dark, visceral show? And like, it absolutely made sense and showed how powerful the Shadow King really is, and just wow. I can't believe it took me this long to watch the first season of Legion. Thankfully, though, I watched all of the first season before season 2 started, and I am on board for however long this show is on television. I think Noah Hawley needs to be given a lot more experimental comic book material. And if he wants to do a Doctor Doom movie, by God, give that man the ability to do a Doctor Doom movie. This is the set of hands that, probably the best set of hands available to make a Doctor Doom movie, and he really wants to do it, so come on, Marvel, let's get this going. But that's all we've got for Legion. We're kicking over. We've got an update for It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. For those of you that are keeping up on the show, you already know. I'm going to bring the rest of you up to date slightly. Glen Howerton, a.k.a. the guy who plays Dennis, and one of the producers / primary writers, Dennis, Charlie, and Mac are the producers and writers. They do basically whatever they want with that show. Glen Howerton, at the end of last season, left the show, kind of. Dennis left the pub to pursue being a father, apparently, and Howerton said in interviews that he wasn't anticipating being back on screen at least this season, possibly next season, so it could be season 14 before we see him again. But he is still set to be producer and writer for the show, so he's not leaving the show. But then, this week we got an interview from Caitlin Olsen, who says that he will be in season 11. Season 12 rather. We will see Dennis on screen in season 12. I don't know if that's them being a little tricky and there's like going to be a flashback scene and it's footage they already have, because Howerton's doing that stupid AP Bio show where he's basically just Dennis on a different network, and apparently that's eating up a lot of his time. So maybe he comes back in towards the end of the season. Who knows? That's a really interesting thing that A, he left, and B, they're being real shady about when he's coming back. But he is going to be coming back. And we also got a quasi update on the premiere. It is set to premiere. The season 12 is set to premiere sometime this fall. But that's all we have for It's Always Sunny. Next, we're kicking over to possibly the biggest piece of news for TV this week, and it's also the last piece of news for TV this week. It's Smallville. So con season is upon us. Let's back up before we get to the Smallville bit. Con season is upon us, so we are getting all kinds of wonderful things. As I'm filming right now, C2E2 over in Chicago is coming to an end. I believe Amazing Con is also coming to an end as I'm filming. That might have been last weekend, but I feel like it was this week. Yeah, it was this weekend as well. Because this bit is from yesterday morning. There was a Smallville panel that had Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum, a.k.a. Clark freaking Kent and Lex Luthor, talking about their careers. Link to the entire panel is in the description, but they're talking about their careers, and somebody brings up Smallville, and they both are willing to revisit that property. I feel like I watched it very briefly, so I can't remember the specifics of how they said it, but it got brought up to do an animated series possibly, or even an animated movie, since DC is known to do those really good animated movies. They were both very into the idea. Whether or not it goes past that, who knows, but Welling is a producer. That is one of his job titles, and I feel like he directed and produced some of the last few seasons of Smallville, and there's reason to believe that is a possibility. I feel like the movie is slightly more possible than the animated series. We did technically get a season 11, but it was in comic books. So if they do it, will it pick up after the comic book story, or will it retell the story that happened in comic books, since comic books is a smaller core audience than would see an animated movie or series? And if it is a series, will it be a miniseries, or will they get a proper season out of it? There's so much to kind of mull over. I honestly, if it happens, my money says it's going to be an animated movie, and it'll be a one-off deal, a little reunion with all of the cast. They can get to come back, though some of them might be in jail. See the link that's going, yeah, right about there. So yeah, that's really awesome. I kind of lost interest on the last 2 seasons of Smallville. I did watch them, they just weren't quite as good as the first 8 seasons. So, but still, I'm down. If they can bring Welling and Rosenbaum together, even just those two to do the voices, and then find other people to do the rest of the cast, I feel like that will even be better cathartic kind of closure for that, because I really felt like they dropped the ball with season 10. But that is where we are ending this week's episode. What did I miss? What should we talk about next week? Let me know in the comments down low. If, though, you want to go deeper into the conversation, jump over to the website, generallynerdy.net. That's where you can find all of the freebies. That's where you can find the links to the store. Everything is up on the website. That is the hub that gets you to everything else. So check out the website, generallynerdy.net. If you want to support the channel a little more directly, then jump over to patreon.com/generallynerdy. That is the place that you can support me on a month-to-month basis. It is broken into tiers. The lowest tier you can jump on for is just $1. $1 a month really helps me out a lot, and you get first access to all the videos, and you get better access to the Renaissance Nerd videos because there is more detail in those, and you get step-by-step instructions instead of just, here's the stuff and let's throw it together. So jump over to patreon.com/generallynerdy to get all of that and more. If, though, you are brand new to Generally Nerdy and you've never been here before, then please click that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the bell. Let YouTube know that you want to see my videos as soon as they are posted. If you like this episode, then definitely hit that like button. If you are falling behind on your nerd news and you want to catch up, then click or tap that box to the left of my face to do that. Or there's a box right above it that you can click or tap on to see the Adventures in Photography, so you know what you're getting into as far as the 2 Adventures in Photography episodes we will be filming this week. But before you go do any of that, guys, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.